Last year, at the beginning of summer, by a significantly older and popular content creator. I was freshly 18 and had just graduated high school a few weeks prior in a hotel room with other people around me when it happened. He was someone I had once watched, and he was 8 years older than me and far more powerful.
I'm so proud of you and your bravery.
Oh my God.
If you're like me and you saw this young girl crying on the verge of tears, hyperventilating, looking very, very distraught, and you were listening to her story, you probably thought something really, really awful happened to her. You probably thought like someone has abused this girl, has devastated her, has traumatized her, and you leaned in because you were heavily invested to be prepared to become a white knight and simp for her and make sure the monster that has attacked her is completely slain and canceled off the internet. What if I told you the monster in question here, crime to humanity, was touching her stomach, grazing her belly, while she repeatedly came back to him over and over and over again in her own free will to cuddle with the man. You know how like you cuddle and you spoon with your boo and they kind of just wrap their arms around you to get closer, slightly grazes your midriff? Yeah, that's what happened. And for that, this man's life and career was completely and utterly ruined.
Okay, so this story has to be one of the dumbest, most terminally online thing.
What?
I honestly think young people's brains are rotted when it comes to all topics of consent. Okay, essentially this involves two Twitch streamers. Okay, some very, very strong allegations.
The full story is quite short. It was at a convention in a hotel room. It was my first convention I was invited to, so I stuck by one of my best friends the entire time. I was nervous but excited about it all and felt really grown up. One night, we were at a house party when we decided to leave. It was me, my best friend. She wanted to go back to his hotel room, but didn't want to go alone, so we went with her. I didn't really mind, as I was up for anything. When we got to the hotel room, it was the creator, the girl was talking to, and his best friend. The two of them and the three of us. Not much happened that first night, just some drinking and talking at a table. A few days passed when I found myself in the same situation. Us three were at a party when it got boring, and whether the girl wanted to leave and go to his room, or he asked us to, I cannot remember. I was naive, and so we went back. That night, I went up to his room. Back at the hotel room again were the two friends and us three girls. Out of nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch in front of everyone. He disguised it with a simple, "Are you ticklish?" I coughed out a no, still staring at my phone. I was overly aware of the fact that we were in front of other people, the fact that everyone else was sitting around us, watching us, including my best friend, and that his hand was inching further to places I hadn't asked for it to be. He made a game out of my embarrassment, where he would touch me in certain areas to make me lose the phone game I was playing. I was scared, and I felt sick, because my mind was a blur. I didn't speak or move. I remember being afraid to even breathe. I stayed there for a while, hoping my stillness could make me disappear. I eventually had to stand up after many minutes for it to stop. I was scared to leave or make a scene out of the embarrassment. Eventually, later in the night, I found myself alone with him and his friend. Everyone else either passed out or sick. I dread the scenarios that could have played out that night, the what-ifs. I was just so naive, and lucky or not, the night came to an end with just that. He proceeded to Instagram message me for a bit after that, simple flirting or asking about the next convention I was going to, saying stuff about seeing me there. Simple messages, ultimately filtered into nothing. At the time of it all, I convinced myself I was lucky. I was lucky that that had happened to me. I was excited to be around such big creators, to be at that convention in general. It was a first. That night, it was the first time anyone had ever touched me. I assured myself that I was just being sensitive about it all, that it wasn't a big deal, but assuring only can go so far. I felt dirty in a way that I couldn't wash off.
So he slipped my hands down her pants?
No.
No, he did.
No, he didn't.
So he touched her boob?
No.
Where did she get touched?
You need context. So
Yes, I need. Yeah, the context is very important. But
okay, so
I
just
thought
a
I
couple
had
points to
context.
know. Nobody knew that she was 18 because she had a 21 wristband because this event was 21 plus. That's why she was allowed to drink. So they were cuddling, and then he tickled her stomach. What? that's what all this is about. I can't.
Female privilege. Female privilege is something that lots of women don't want to acknowledge exists. I believe there's privilege just like there's white privilege, just like there's black privilege, just like there's male privilege. I think no matter what label you belong to, there is a certain amount of privilege. But female privilege is something that a lot of people try to deny that exists. And if the feminists of the world actually acknowledge that there is female privilege, they'll most likely blame it on patriarchy. But there's a special power that females have, and they're called female tears. Correction. There's a level of female tears. There's female tears, then there's white women tears, and then there's young, pretty white women tears. There's different levels, right? And it's truly a superpower. Or, you know, it could be like a power that a super villain would have, where you can literally just sniffle a little bit, point fingers at anybody on this planet and say, they did this to me. You will be believed. With no receipts, no evidence whatsoever, this person that you've pointed to, their life needs to be destroyed. They need to be fired. They need to be kicked out of university. They just need to be held over their head to the day they die, simply because some woman with tears said so. Now, there's two things that could be going on right now. There's one, she could truly believe that this was assault, that this was actually like grape, right? Because I do think that the younger generation has vastly expanded the idea of what assault is, and I am someone who does appreciate the fact that the conversation around consent has evolved, and I think it needed to evolve. However, just like the idea of talking about immaturity when it comes to masculinity or toxic masculinity had its place at some point, and then it just like went way overboard to the point that masculinity itself is seen as a negative thing. I think that's the same thing when it comes to the idea of consent, or what harassment is, or what assault is, or what rape is. There are some people out there that actually believe if I basically initially consented to something at first and then later on regretted, that means I was actually assaulted. Or if I was in the presence of someone and we started making out and I didn't say yes or no, but I continued the makeout section with my actions, with my physical actions, like by kissing back, but I never verbally said yes, then that's assault. Or someone simply feeling uncomfortable, never vocalizing how they feel uncomfortable, never expressing that they feel uncomfortable, then that's also assault. And I don't think any of that's actually really true. I don't even think if someone is overly intoxicated, because I think that this conversation has been, this is the female privilege thing of someone being too drunk or too intoxicated to consent, but that only applies to women and never to men. Like, how is that possible? How can you scream equality but literally have an idea that only women can use? Women are the only ones that can't consent if they're too intoxicated, and men, if they are literally knocked out, dead out, blacked out, drunk, no, doesn't apply to them. Anywho, this girl could have truly believed that this is the case, or she's just lying, or she's exaggerating, or she's stretching the truth. Anyway, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. This young girl, I don't know who she is. I think she's involved in the Twitch streaming world, or she was fans of a Twitch streamer. I think the person that she accused was a Minecrafter, and you have to understand that what I've heard anyway is that the Minecrafting fan base is extremely young, so again, they might not have a weird idea of what assault is, or what grape is, or what harassment is, or what consent or not consent is. Again, I know the conversation is nuanced and vast, but like, regretting something the day after is not assault, okay? It's not. So I can understand why the fan base of this Minecrafter and maybe her fan base just kind of bought it and went with it. But so the story goes is that she bumped into this Minecrafter at a party for people of age, right? I think it was like 21 and up or something like that. She had a wristband on, basically signaling that she was 21 or up. She was at a party for 21 and ups. So the guy who met her assumed she was 21 and up because she herself was lying and being deceitful by having this wristband on, by showing whatever fake ID she needed to show to get into this party. So he had no idea she was 18. By the way, 18 is an adult, and I guess like this new generation is now using this word called minor adult. No, you're an adult. You use the word minor adult to escape accountability and responsibility. Now, is there a difference between an 18-year-old and a 30-year-old and an 18-year-old and a 40-year-old or an 18-year-old and a 50-year-old? Yes, there is, because there's different lived experience, there's different brain development, so there is a difference. But when it comes to like, what is he, like early 20 to 26-year-old and 18-year-old, there's a slight difference, but there's not much of a difference. So this whole minor adult thing missed me with that. Anywho, so even if she was 18 and he knew she was 18, he still's not doing anything wrong. And in her video, you can tell she's trying to, you know, navigate or narrate a certain idea by calling her, saying that she was freshly 18.
At the beginning of summer, by a significantly older and popular content creator. I was freshly 18. I was freshly 18. In high school a few weeks prior.
Are you serious?
Bitch, you're still 18. By law, you're 18. If you can admit a crime, you get charged as an adult. You're an adult. You're 18. Anywho, he meets her at this party. They go back to their place along with a group of other people. They start to sit together. She gets closer to him. He gets closer to her. They start to cuddle a bit and, cuddle and get closer and stuff like that. She gets up multiple times, right? Multiple times she gets up to do things, go to the bathroom, get food, get drinks, get her phone, talk to her friends, whatever. She gets up multiple times and continuously, over and over and over again, go back to cuddle with this man. He doesn't force her. There's not a gun to her head. There's other people in the room. If he had like a knife to her back, she could have got up and went over to her friend and said, this guy is attacking me. She got up multiple times and went back over to him on her own free will. So in his mind, because of her physical actions, which is communicating something right now, is that she wants to continue cutting with him. She wants to continue getting closer to him. She wants to continue getting physical with him. And so he takes that as a sign, and then he continues to sort of wrap his arms around her and grazes or touches her belly. End of story. That's what happened. So I think that afterwards they continue to communicate. Again, she's continually communicating with the guy she says assaulted her, and she wants to develop something past this. He says, no, I just want to be friends. And then she comes out with this story about how she was just attacked and harassed and abused.
So what's happening now?
They canceled this dude. He got pulled from a bunch of advertisement, everything. He tickled her stomach. I don't give a fuck. He didn't know her age, 1. And 2, when he found out her age, he's like, no, thank you. That's why they texted for a while. Remember she said that? Yeah. And one of the reasons they stopped texting?
A lot of people basically ganged up on this dude, took her side of the story because, again, believe all women with no evidence whatsoever. Because you know what? Why do you need evidence? No one's a perfect victim. The guy did try to stand his ground by showing receipts and by, telling the side of the story.
Context to this scenario and to why I didn't know her age. My perspective of things is that I am with people that are over the age of 21 in a scenario where we are doing things that people that are over the age of 21 are doing, like drinking. And also the people that came from an event where they had very heavy security. This was an official VidCon after party. And with previous VidCon after parties, I even had problems getting into these events. I've gone back and reviewed texts from the time. And there was actually a picture where it was shown that they had this 21 plus wristband on one of their wrists. So from my perspective, it's a bunch of 21 plus year olds hanging out. I have no reason to think otherwise. She wasn't being awkward at all. There was no sense of uncomfortability from her. She was laughing and playing with everyone. We actually continued to send each other high score updates even weeks after the event. To add further context to this moment, we were all actually sitting on the couch that was in the hotel room playing this game on her phone. So then this is when her most important claim happens. I'm just going to read the quote. She says, "Out of nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch in front of everyone. He disguised it with a simple, 'Are you ticklish?' I coughed out a no and still staring at my phone. I was overly aware of the fact that we were in front of other people. The fact that everyone else was sitting around us, watching us, including my best friend, and that his hand was inching further to places I hadn't asked it to be. Again, as I mentioned before, we had previously been cuddling on this couch for around an hour but I did place my hand on her waist under her shirt. The way it's phrased makes it sound like it just happened out of nowhere, when in reality we'd been cuddling for over an hour at this point, and it was not out of nowhere. Me and Katie were very touchy, very cuddly, and very slowly got more intimate. I've always been overly cautious with consent, and this is not just because I'm a creator. I've been like this since before I was a creator, and I think that's just the way I am and just the way it should be. Nothing came out of nowhere. Everything progressed very slowly throughout the night. And also, before I continue, I want to make it clear that the furthest anything ever got was under the shirt touching and cuddling. Now, obviously, people don't typically ask if everything is okay, even such as touching someone's waist under their shirt before they do it. But in this case, I was extremely slow. I had no impression of any wrongdoing throughout this whole relationship that I had with her. None at all. Like, it was, if anything, it was the opposite. I thought we had a pretty good relationship. Despite the fact that we actually hadn't talked in a while, I thought if I'd seen her in real life again, everything would be fine and we would be friends. It was actually around this point, after VidCon had finished and we were messaging, that I found out her age. And since then, I never pursued anything going forward, and I essentially stopped messaging her. Her last message to me was August 1st, 2023, and I haven't replied to her since then. After I watched her stream, I was pretty confused.
I don't think that. I just think these people are just too online. They're too online brain, and so that's why they talk like this. And they go on Twitter and they make this big thing, and then you get all this support. But in real life, you tell the story to most people, they'll be like, "So he touched her stomach?"
No, it's because I'm old, bro. I think it's really because I'm old.
I don't think so. It's not an old thing.
You don't think so?
I think this is just people who are too online.
But it's a lot of people that is too online. Then if it's a lot of people that is too online, it becomes the norm, because all those a lot of people too online get him canceled. It becomes the norm. It means that it's a thing. It matters to that many people. You understand? It means that I'm the one that is out of date. I'm gonna take me out of the equation, all right? And as if I raise a son, I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? It's crazy, because then people that really something really happened, they're gonna have a fear that I'm not gonna talk because people are gonna laugh at me. People are gonna diminish what I'm saying and this and that. It's just that
you're cuddling with someone for an hour and they touch your waist. I don't give a fuck. Actually, don't give a shit. Nothing happened to you. You're not a victim. You're actually somebody who's fucking nefarious for trying to turn this into a bigger story than what it is. Just because you drink doesn't mean you're not accountable for the things that happen. Sorry. If you were to drink and drive, we would say you're accountable. If you want to drink and cuddle with a dude, don't be like, I'm a sandwich. Shut up.
Unfortunately, because I think he was a part of a Minecraft team. I know nothing of this world, guys. This is all secondhand knowledge. But he was a part of a Minecraft team, and I think he was getting pressured to apologize. He did apologize, which you should never apologize, because guess what? Now you're guilty. You apologize. So it just made things worse.
The dude actually got online. He apologized for everything, because the internet was coming down on him so hard. He's like, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm telling you, these kids are so online brain. They're learning consent from sources that aren't reasonable about consent. They think that if you're cuddling with someone, it's not a reasonable escalation to touch their stomach. And if you do, you're some kind of predator.
I do think some big YouTubers have come out to defend him and tell his story. So I do think that has helped, you know, bigger YouTubers with millions of followers and subscribers who get hundreds of thousands of views, way more than I do, basically show the receipts. And I think that has helped. But like, yeah. It's astonishing to me to this day that you can just point at someone and ruin their life simply because you have a vagina. Now, does assault happen? Yes. Does rape happen? Yes. Are women pressured into things? Yes. You know, this can happen. This happens all the time. This happens in Hollywood all the time. This happens with powerful people all the time. But I'm sorry, hun. She wasn't, like, according to her, she wasn't heavily intoxicated. She wasn't so drugged up that she couldn't see or walk or talk. She was in her right mind, and she kept going back to the guy to cuddle with him and then say he assaulted her. So that is female privilege. I don't know. If you're a guy, I think you need to just start wearing a body cam for now on. And if you're a female, understand what consent is, what your body language is portraying, understand what actually assault is and rape is and harassment is. I know it's a nuanced conversation. I know it's vast. There's a lot of men who dismiss women's claims all the time because they don't take it seriously, or they don't think what they went through is seriously, and those things are wrong. But sometimes it is really just a girl that really nothing happened to her, and she's trying to ruin someone's life, and that's not right and that's not fair. Maybe she truly felt internally traumatized, but it was not because of his actions. It was because she didn't take accountability for her comfort or her discomfort level. If she was truly that uncomfortable, she should have protected herself, and she should have been a responsible person and said, I don't want to continue this, got up with her friends, and or got up and left. Her excuse was she didn't want to embarrass him and blah blah blah. And I get all that. I was a young girl before too, but just because like I don't have the courage and I'm not taking accountability for my own comfort, and I'm not even expressing I'm uncomfortable or telling anybody I'm uncomfortable, that's still on me, and I have to take accountability for that. Anyway guys, let me know what you guys think of this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get the notification when I do upload. That really does help with the algorithm, guys. If you'd like to support the channel, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. You can super thanks, and you guys have an amazing beautiful day.